Hi everyone, it's me, Eternally Elle. Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about play the game or get played, okay? Because unfortunately, we live in a world that is not ideal, okay? We live in a world where humans are superficial, where people care about looks before you even say a word, where dating can be very superficial, and overall, just how you present yourself to the world, okay? That all matters. Of course, in our dream world, we would be accepting and loving of everybody no matter how they looked, but unfortunately, in the world that we live in, looks matter. Appearances, they matter, okay? And people that really put the time and energy into their appearance are not just vain, okay? They care about themselves. They want to look good to feel good, okay? Those people that put effort into their appearance actually care about themselves and exude a whole lot of confidence. But Elle, appearances aren't the only things that matter. But Elle, looks aren't everything. Yeah, of course, babe. But this is how the world sees women especially, okay? People care more about our appearance because that is the first thing that they see. Okay? People listen to what they can see. Okay? If you are unattractive, if you don't care about yourself, if you dress like a bum all the time, then people are going to assume that you don't take care of yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't care about looking a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And of course, in an ideal world, we would be like, yo, like, looks aren't everything. You should get to know someone's personality. You should care about how smart they are and all that stuff, right? Because especially women who have brains, beauty, and confidence, she is literally unstoppable. And that is what I preach for you guys, okay? Because something can happen where your looks can just all of a sudden, like, you get into a freak accident and your looks are just, screwed. And then all of a sudden you have nothing else to offer, okay? But as a woman, your looks do matter. That's the first thing people see. Okay, but that's not me saying that, oh, your looks are the only thing that matters, because that's not true. Okay, you being a smart woman in this world, especially financially smart and stable, is so important. You should never rely on anybody else as a woman. You should never rely financially on anybody else. Okay, and I know you guys like to say, like, oh, but Elle, you always preach about, dating providers once you're a grown age. Yeah, of course. I would only want to date a man that provides for me, but that doesn't mean I don't have my own money. That doesn't mean that he controls me financially. So, as a woman in this day and age, especially since we still live under the patriarchy, we still live in a white supremacist and patriarchal society, we gotta do what we can. We gotta do what we can to play and win the game. Okay? That's why black women are always talking about, oh, I always gotta work 10 times harder on my looks and my smarts and my education and everything else in between. Yeah, babe, that's because these disgusting people decided to create a disgusting world where we are seen as less than, when that is not true. Okay, that is not true. If you are a black woman and you are on your healing journey or you are just on your glow up journey, keep going, girl. Because this world wants you to be small. This world wants to make you feel like you're ugly. This world wants to make you feel like you're not good enough. Okay, when you are capable and are good enough. Beauty standards change. Beauty standards aren't always going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, body types for beauty standards change. Hair types for beauty standards change. Even facial features. So just find something that you look good in, find something that makes you feel confident in, and stick to that. Stop following trends that you don't like. Okay, and it's okay to keep up with trends. It's okay to look like, oh, hey, like this new trend, like I feel like it would look good on me, whether that's fashion or whether that's, changing how you look, all that stuff, right? It's okay to experiment. But once you find something that makes you look and feel good, once you find something that is like more you than anything, then stick to it. I know personally for me, I like certain types of makeup, fashion, hair choices that may not be in, but I still feel beautiful in them. I still feel like my best self. I still feel confident, and I'm still playing the game, and I'm still winning. You guys know what I'm saying? Whenever you guys are watching TV or a movie, or you guys just see all these influencers online, why do you think they always look put together? Why do you think women influencers are always wearing makeup? Why do you always think that women influencers are dressing up? Why do you always think that women influencers are standing out in comparison to the average person. Because when I was on my glow up journey and I started going out with heels on, I started going out with dresses on, I started actually like dressing up and wearing makeup and, making sure my hair is done instead of just going out there and like not caring about how I look or how I was dressing, I would get a lot of stares. And as someone with social anxiety, as someone who gets a little anxious whenever people are staring at them, I was just like, why are all these people staring at me? Are they judging me? Like, I started to get a little worried, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may preach, like, don't care about what other people think, look good, feel good, all that stuff, right? But when you start doing it for the first time, you may start to get a little worried, being like, oh, am I overdressed? Oh, am I doing too much? No, girl, you're just in a Walmart, all dressed up, looking your best, whereas everyone else is just in sweatpants, whereas everyone else is just in a t-shirt, not caring about how their hair is, just up in a messy bun. And I know I got my hair up in a claw clip. Okay, tomorrow's wash day, so be quiet about that. But that's why, girl. Let people stare at you. Let them appreciate you. Don't always assume that staring equals judging. And I actually made a TikTok about this on my TikTok at EternallyL with just not the extra E at the end like I do with my YouTube channel. But anyways, I made a TikTok video about this, basically saying that when you look your best, when you feel your best, you are going to get stared at. No matter what. Humans like to stare at what they like to look at. You know what I'm saying? Like, humans will stare at something that is just like, wow, that woman is beautiful. Wow, that woman takes care of herself. Wow, that woman must have money. Wow, that woman loves herself. That woman is confident. Okay, don't always assume that staring equals judging. And even if they are judging and you still look your best, you still feel your best, you're still expressing yourself in the way that makes you feel beautiful, let them judge. Who cares? Because people who are judging random strangers that they don't even know, and they know that that stranger is looking their best, feeling their best, and they're over here judging, who's the real loser in this scenario? The girl that's out there confident, dressing for herself, looking good for herself, making her money, getting that bag, blah, blah, blah. Or that one average-looking plain Jane bitch that is staring, that's judging, that's whispering to her friend. Who's the real loser in this scenario? Exactly. And that's to say that this is not me agreeing with how society is, guys, because I feel like every single influencer that is just too real gets very scrutinized, being like, oh, you're shallow, or oh, you're mean, or oh, you're promoting these bad ideals and mindsets and blah, blah, blah. When it's just like, we've tried, like, we have tried to dress how we want to dress, not care about how we look, and not care about what other people think, but that's not going to get you far. Trust me, that's not going to get you far. I mean, look at Shira 7. Shira 7, always been a beautiful woman, always putting herself out there, always putting effort into her appearances, but if you look at Shira's old videos on YouTube versus now, she literally like aged backwards. That lady had the glow up of a lifetime, y'all. Okay, so who cares? Post yourself when you're ugly. Go out when you're ugly. See how you get treated. Finally decide that you want to change something so you can get treated better, so you can get better opportunities, so you can feel more better about yourself, so you can feel more confident, and see all of the opportunities flow into your life. See how much more happiness and much better people will flow into your life. Shira 7 back then, yeah, she was a little bigger, Yeah, maybe she didn't have the best makeup skills and everything. Yeah, maybe she didn't put as much effort into her appearance as she does now. But look at her now, okay? People will look back and be like, damn, like, she never let herself go, she grew up, and she's a mom, y'all. There is really no excuse, especially if you don't have kids. I know personally, I don't want to have kids, so why would I ever let myself go? Especially as a woman. I never want to let myself go, because letting yourself go means giving up on yourself. Letting yourself go means that you let your haters win, essentially. Because letting yourself go doesn't mean just getting bigger either, okay? I don't know why you guys think that just gaining weight means you're letting yourself go. It could be gaining weight for you. It could be eating unhealthy. It could be staying in your bed and doom scrolling all day. It can be viewing content that's only making your mindset worse. Being surrounded by negative people and other negativity, etc. All of that stuff. So never let yourself go in any aspect as a woman, whether that's body, mindset, hair, nails, makeup, skin, all of that stuff. Okay, because that is the really one thing that people regret, is that they let themselves go. That is the main thing that people regret. You know why? Because once they let themselves go, once they let themselves get ugly again, give up on themselves, they start to hate themselves. They start to be like, damn, I really looked good. Why would I do this to myself? I hate myself. Why would I do this? People treat me worse. So it's like, would you rather be like, oh, I don't care what other people think. I'm going to go out looking crazy. Who cares, you know? And dress down and dress bummy, not feel like your best self, not feel confident, be afraid of going out in public? Or would you rather be on the superficial side where, yeah, I don't like the society that we live in where looks are so like put up on a high scale, but I'm going to do the best I can to make myself look good, put effort into myself, and realize that I love myself and I'm taking care of myself, and just because I want to change something doesn't mean I hate myself. It means improving myself means I love myself. So what side would you rather be on, girl? What side would you rather be on? It all is up to you. It is all up to you if you want to put in the effort, okay? You guys see this stand right here? This is my band music stand from when I used to play flute. You know why it's looking like this right now? You know why it's just here in a funky position? I put my laptop up here. I watch YouTube videos. Guess what I'm standing on right now? A walking pad. Because I want to get my steps in. I don't want any excuse getting in the way for me not getting in my steps. Oh, it's raining outside. Oh, I'm just not going to do my 10K steps. Oh, there's so many gnats outside. It's too humid. It's too hot. I don't want to go walk outside. So your bitch got a walking pad, so she wouldn't have any other excuses, okay? Because yesterday, like, my minimum is 10K. Yesterday I got 16K, y'all. And I was just like, wow. Patting myself on the back. I am so proud of myself because as someone who used to be very active in high school and I wouldn't really think about food much, of course I was at a healthy weight because I was moving around a lot. I was very active and I wasn't thinking about food that much. You know, the food noise wasn't there, you know, but once I got out of high school, once I got into college, only going to like 1 or 2 classes a day, and then the rest of my day I'd just be in bed scrolling on TikTok, you know, doing homework, sitting down. You know, I was also in a toxic relationship at the time. I gained 20 pounds. It wasn't the freshman 15 for me. It was the freshman 20, y'all. 20. Freshman 20 for me. Okay? And you know what was funny? That was the hardest time of my life. That was the time where I was the most depressed. That was the time I was the most anxious. That was the time where I cared so much about how other people thought. That was the time where I wanted to just fix everyone's problems but myself. So do you see the correlation? Now that I got the 20 pounds off, now that I'm making content, now that I have more hobbies, now that I'm more active, now that the food noise is less quiet, because as someone who used to overeat, as someone who used to just eat when they were bored, not anymore, girl. Not anymore. Do you see that? Now I love myself more. Now I'm not as upset or sad or depressed. Now I'm less anxious. You see the correlation of when I started first putting the effort into my looks versus before when I wasn't? Yeah, putting effort into your looks actually makes you happier as a person. You know, that's not superficial to say, like, I'm literally living proof of that. Because when you're so focused on toxicity, negativity, you're not focused on yourself. So, understand that. And when you start your healing journey, when you start your glow up journey, start with things that you can, okay? You don't need to spend a shit ton of money at first and then only be consistent for a week and then just give up. And then you wasted all that money. For what? So, I recommend when you're glowing up, when you're starting your healing journey, especially if you're a girl in your early 20s or you're just leaving your teenage years, you know, like maybe you're 18, 19, no matter how old you are and you want to glow up, good for you, girl. You know, the earlier the better. Because there are some women out here that are just now realizing everything that I already know. They're like 40 years old, maybe 30 years old, and they're now just starting to put in the effort. It is always hard to start later, okay? And kudos to those older women that are putting in that effort now. I applaud them because a lot of women don't do that. A lot of women can't look inward and be like, hey, what can I change about myself to make myself more happy, more confident, more beautiful? The best thing to start doing is changing the outside. That's probably the easiest thing. Changing the inside, changing your mindset is a lot more hard because when you grew up with that mindset, when you got used to that mindset of negative thinking and all that stuff, that's a lot harder to change and it also takes more time. So, switch up your looks. Start to become more beautiful. Start to become more confident. Start to wear things that you want to wear. Start to experiment with makeup. Start to take care of your hair, take care of your body, take care of your nails. Always look put together even when you go outside, no matter what. I don't care if you're wearing sweats. Wear a cute fitted top with it. Wear a cute tank top with it. Okay? It's little by little. Instead of going out with an oversized t-shirt, baggy sweatpants, and Crocs, you know, maybe switch out the Crocs for cute sneakers. Maybe switch out the loose t-shirt that you've worn for pajamas for like how many years? Switch that out for a tank top. Switch it out for a tight long sleeve or a tight short sleeve. Add some jewelry. Do your hair. And you will start to see how much more effortless you look, even when you're still wearing sweats. Because I know there are still some days I want to wear sweats, y'all. I still like to wear pants. But if you put in that little bit more of effort, that makes all the difference. And you're going to want to put in more effort when you do that. Okay? So maybe you're getting tired of sweatpants. Maybe the weather is getting nicer and you want to wear something more girly, something more feminine. You know, you want to start wearing skirts and dresses. You know, switch out the sweatpants for the long maxi skirts. I love the Brandy Melville long maxi skirt, like the white one. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I love wearing that skirt, you know, with a tank top, tube top. I'll add in my accessories. I'll do my hair. And then you look so much better. And then this long maxi skirt is still as comfortable as sweatpants. So it's little by little. The little tweaks will really get you so far. When you're first on your glow up or healing journey, start to change the outside. And watch how you start to feel on the inside. Because I already know damn well when I start to change how I looked on the outside, how I start to think on the inside became so much better. And then I started to work on the inside. Because that is just as important. Meditation helped reduce my anxiety like a ton. You know, journaling, getting your feelings out, allowing yourself to feel emotions instead of repressing them or instead of distracting yourself from those emotions. Don't be afraid to feel. Be more afraid to repress. Because if you constantly repress and then you've reached your tipping point and now you're like crying for hours and you're like, why am I crying so long for that one little thing? No, babe, it wasn't that one little thing. It was all the other 50 plus things that you shoved down deep inside. So allow yourself to cry more. That's completely fine. Honestly, crying a little bit more than crying less, but then when you cry, it's a whole lot, and then you're mentally shutting down, that's way better than that. Trust me. Because I used to repress my emotions, you know, like I would still feel my emotions, I would still feel empathetic. It's not like my emotions were completely turned off, never that. I've definitely met people like that and that's terrifying and I hope they heal. But yeah, no, I was never emotionless, but I would suppress myself. I would stop myself from crying. Like, I would feel myself crying and it's just like I want to cry, but then sometimes I just couldn't, you know, and that's not healthy. So when you're starting to change the inside, allow yourself to feel emotions, journal, meditate, moving your body even. I know exercise and just walking changes the outside, but it also changes the inside because exercising, I believe, like releases endorphins in the brain and that makes you more happy. Moving your body is going to make you more happy. You will never regret a workout, babe. You'll never regret going on a walk and you get the body yaddy yaddy with it. So it's like, what are you missing out on? Don't be afraid of change either. Because when you're in this world, a human's natural state is change. I truly believe that. Because when humans are stagnant, you know, when they're not improving, when they're just like this, that's when life gets boring. And that's when people want to allow toxic things into your life because it's like, hey, it's entertainment, you know, like I'm bored. So allow yourself to change. Always strive to be better. Always strive to be better. But of course, don't move so fast, like striving to be better, because that can cause burnout. You know, I know for myself, if I do too many things at once, then it's like I'm not going to want to do anything for the rest of the week. So make sure you truly know yourself. Make sure you're taking yourself out on dates. Make sure you know what you really like and how your brain works in order to make those positive changes, because we're all different. Okay, some people can make so many changes within a month, and then other people, with ADHD especially, can only make so many changes in such a low amount of time. It really just depends on how your brain works. Also, just realize how much work you've already done on yourself and how far you've come. Sometimes I'll look back on pictures of me from like months or like a year or two ago, and I'm like, damn, I really changed a lot. On the days that I was changing on day after day, I was still like, am I moving too slow? Like, I feel like You know, maybe I'm not changing that much as I think. But then I'll look back like a couple months ago, like 6 months ago, and I'll be like, I'm a completely different person. Be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Protect your inner child. Tell your inner child, like, yo, we are becoming our dream versions of ourselves, and I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I love you, and I want what's best for you. Parent yourself. You know, maybe you didn't have the perfect parents. I don't know your guys' home situations, but even if you did have amazing, great parents, you know, good for you. They probably taught you everything that you need to know, but still parent yourself, you know, because if you only rely on your parents or other people to make you happy or to, you know, make you feel successful, that's not going to last long. You got to feel that deep within yourself. You have to be able to parent yourself sometimes. You need to be able to be that shoulder that you need to cry on for yourself. Take yourself out on solo dates. Be by yourself for a while. There's nothing wrong with that. And if people make you feel like a loser for being alone, it's because they feel like a loser, even in a room full of people. That's why. You don't need to be surrounded by so many people to be cool. Because most of the times, that people that are in really big friend groups, most of the times, they don't really like each other. Would you rather have 2 or 3 really good close friends that truly know you and appreciate you for who you are in all aspects? Or would you rather have 10 plus more friends that don't even know your favorite color, don't even remember your birthday? The choice is yours, babe. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok at EternallyL, and I will see you guys there. Love you guys.